If being a masculine man means accepting the burden of others, why would anyone want to be a man by that definition?
Where did that definition come from?
Because you you become more valuable by doing the things that others don't want to do. That's what makes it inherently valuable in the first place. When you take on something that most people want to avoid, when you pick off other people's slack, that is valuable to somebody else. That is why one of the famous quotes that the president said was, ask not what your country can do for you, but what you can do for your country. It's the most patriotic American thing because we are not entitled little shits. We earn our dollar. We work hard. Especially if you're in New York City, you have that New York mentality, that New York work ethic. Grind.
You tell me.
Man-made.
Man-made. Yeah, you just said it. You're a man.
Does society shame men more for being strong and masculine, or does it shame men more for being weak?
Definitely shames men more for being weak. I mean, I think women just expect a man to be masculine and the leader.
Men hold other men accountable, ultimately, and women hold you accountable by not even dealing with you. That's the dark truth.
For being weak, and that's the good thing.
Shaming them for being weak, for sure.
Why do people think that society shames men more for being strong and masculine than it shames men for being weak?
Because it's like a social construct that men are supposed to be tough and like not have feelings, and that they're not allowed to have the same vulnerabilities as women.
Weak, to me, doesn't mean how much you can lift. It means how strong you are from the inside.
I mean, I think a strong man is...
You see, Grandpa, come on, man. That's what makes people weak. You have to be physically strong on the outside so that you can create a callus on the inside through your experiences. That's why a job won't hire you unless you have experience, unless you've been in those situations. People are willing to follow you if you've been there before. That's how you lead. You take control of situations that are difficult, that most people don't want to do in the first place.
...in who he is, but people are kind of getting more and more attacked for that, so it's hard to be confident in who you are if you feel like you're going to get hate for it.
What constitutes a weak man versus a strong man?
Their feminine energy, how much they lean into their feminine and how much they embrace their masculine.
Yeah, because the weak men be acting like a
99% of America think that a weak man is one.
I thought this blonde chick was going to say something dumb, but she was actually smart. Masculine and feminine. Good psychology traits. And then the other girl just had to ruin it. You have to ruin your best friend's take. Good for you.
Because the weak men be acting like a
99% of America think
So
that
stop
a
choosing
weak
them.
man is one that has more emotions or is a little bit more emotional and expresses his feelings more. I see a weak man as someone who doesn't share their emotions or doesn't know how to communicate them or doesn't really know how to process them in a way.
A weak man is someone that, or a weak person, doesn't have enough strength to stand up for themselves and their opinions and their rights.
A weak man has no belief in God.
Why don't we have those same stipulations for women?
Maybe because most women do stand up for themselves.
It's like when women have emotions, they get like a pass, like, oh, like that's a woman, you know, they think with emotion and they can't really, like, they're more emotional in a sense.
Does a woman have to be...
The common factor that both men and women give when it comes to masculinity is how a man communicates what he wants at the time. When you lead, you have to learn how to communicate. So learning to listen can be very masculine if you're using it to lead. If you're listening and you're just being a follower and you're just following everything she does and you're following her like a lost puppy, then therefore nobody's going to respect you because you're not really necessary. You're just another follower. You want to communicate? Learn how to lead. Learn how to lead through communication. That's how you become better or more masculine.
Or masculine to be considered strong?
No.
I feel like that's something that has to do with what's being portrayed and what's being put on to the women. You got to be like this in order to be a strong woman. You got to be like this to be a strong man. So the women are taking back their strong. That's what I'm saying. The women are taking over.
Why don't we have those same stipulations for women?
We do, but it's in reverse. A woman needs to lean more into her feminine versus her masculine. They talk all the time about a masculine woman. We get equally hated as weak men.
By today's standards, wouldn't the Beatles and Michael Jackson be considered weak men despite them being adored by women?
In today's society, yeah, they'd be considered. They'd be considered weak. Yeah.
Why is that?
I think because they're not like super masculine. They're like a little feminine.
At the end of the day,
And think about what made them famous. They communicated psychologically all the music, the peace, the love that women wanted to hear at that time. So they got in touch with the people's intuition deep down on a music level. It psychologically impacted women, their status, their money, their fame, their notoriety, maybe even their controversies, all aided in them being able to get that rock star punani.
is going to look at them for their music. And when their music comes into play, nobody's thinking that they're weak.
Music. I really, I think one of the reasons that musicians are so attractive is because they can be vulnerable, and I think that men need to see that and need to see that they should be able to do that. And for some reason, when you hold a piece of
Look, it doesn't make you masculine to be a musician, and it doesn't make you masculine to be vulnerable. Here's why. The same guys that are vulnerable as musicians, they may attract punani, yes, but they can't retain it. They can't keep it. The dynamic is off. They're still vulnerable. They're still weak around her. They still portray more feminine traits than they do masculine traits in real life. That's why the whole status thing can be a facade many times. Oh, she only likes you because other people adore you. As soon as those people stop adoring you, she's going to stop liking you. So all her genuine desire just falls on how good are you with the guitar, how much money you're going to keep making doing this music. As soon as you become irrelevant, I'm out the door. That's why gender roles are important. Your duty as a man is important. Masculinity, what is it at its core? To provide and protect a woman. Strength is a huge factor and component of that. Learning how to communicate, tonality, all these things play into how much respect she's going to have for you.
That makes music, and you have a microphone and you have a voice that people can identify with, you can be vulnerable. But when you're just a regular person, you can't. And I don't know why that is, and hopefully we can change that.
Well, I just explained it to you, so you're welcome.
Why don't women shame each other for being weak the same way men shame each other for being weak?
Men do that?
They call each other simps and beta males all the time.
Yeah, that you got me with that one. I think that
women tend to support each other more than men do.
Why do you think that is?
I don't know.
That's the problem that we have as men. It's a competition with us. We want to be better than the next man. With women, they uplifting each other, and that's why they're gaining their feminism. They're gaining that back because they're.
Remember, women are only empowered because men give them money and attention, which is what we hold, which is the power that we hold men to. If we keep giving our money and attention away to women, then we are pedestalizing it. Right now, we live in a society where we pedestalize women. Women are only strong because men, again, are giving them the attention and the time, something you don't get back. If you give them your resources for nothing in return, there's no real exchange in value. That's why society is starting to slowly collapse. That's why the birth rate is in decline. That's why you see more men having more hostility towards women because they're being raised by single mothers and they don't have an actual masculine presence in the household. Think about it. It all adds up.
Learning to stop beefing with one another. That's what guys do. We beef trying to be better. That's the issue.
That's not an issue. We beef and we compete because somebody has to lose and somebody has to win. We live in a zero-sum game. That is the way we improve. In order for somebody to succeed, somebody has to lose. You learn that playing baseball, you learn that playing football, you learn that playing soccer, any sport, anything that is worth having, somebody has to lose and you have to win. That is why that's why men say iron sharpens iron. How you handle a loss says a lot more about you than how you handle your wins.
Are women's dating standards too high, or are men just lazy?
Men are fucking lazy. Men are lazy as shit.
They can both exist. Men are inherently lazy, and women also have delusional level standards. Both can exist.
Lazy as shit. I'm lazy. I'm sorry, I'm lazy. I'm very lazy. Men are lazy. That's what it is. It has nothing to do with the women. We just lazy.
Depends what you mean by lazy.
Accountability, right there.
Like not going to the gym or like not seeking a traditional job. I wouldn't say that men are being lazy.
Men can be lazy, but I also do think that sometimes women don't give them a chance.
I would say women's standards are higher for sure. I mean, they expect. I mean, you see on these interviews that people do, they're like, oh, we expect someone to be a millionaire and like.
I think women's standards are never too high. Men are just lazy, in my opinion.
Be doing everything they possibly can.
Here's the thing is, when a woman says that a man is lazy, nobody respects her because she has no idea what men actually go through. When a man calls another man lazy, if that man is respectable and he's been through hardship, people know about that, then they're more likely to listen to you. If a homeless person is telling you that men are lazy, you're not really going to respect them because he is lazy within himself. You have to understand who is saying the word you are lazy. The best person to hear you are lazy from is from yourself, especially if you are lazy. That is the true sense of accountability.
And be absolutely jacked and be able to, sugar daddy them up whenever they want.
Is there a sexist gender wage gap, or are women just lazy?
Most of the women I know are fucking hustlers. Most of the guys are bums. Well, not most of the guys, but a lot of guys are. Like, the average guy that I see is not working as hard as the average woman. So I think it's a lot of sexism when it comes to wage.
Why do so many people think that women behave badly because men today are weak?
I would agree with this point. Men are getting lazier because they don't know what to work hard for anymore. That would make sense if masculinity is in a decline and they don't even want to improve because they don't care about the women they can possibly get. Now, women are working harder because they believe they're oppressed, and they're working harder to essentially push the man that they want away from them.
Well, then, so if you believe that your actions are based on what somebody else does, because I hear a lot of women say, you got to have somebody to handle me. Let me tell you something. I don't want to have to handle anybody. Why should I have to handle you? That means you are a person that lacks discipline. You do not know how to act yourself. So the thing is that if you are assessing your behavior based on what somebody is or not, then that's more of a problem on you than whoever you're trying to place the blame on.
There you go. Men don't want to compete with the person that they're supposed to be in peace with. Men do not want to compete with the person that they're supposed to be at peace with. That's why men compete against other men. Men are not trying to compete with their own girl. They're trying to build a foundation to raise a family with the girl. Girls are like chickens. That's why we create the nest and they move in like baby chicks. Let's look at some of the comments. Note to self, never listen to any females telling me how to be a man. There you go. That's why you can't listen to female dating coaches. It's ironic for women who don't do any approaching and let the entire relationship happen to them to be calling men lazy. Basically, anything a man does is wrong and anything a woman does is right. That's the world we live in.
Don't forget, guys. If I provided you with any sort of value, entertainment, right, or something that you could actually apply to your life, drop a like on the video, all right, or subscribe.
Jesus.